Hello and welcome to the episode of Rantz. It's Crisandro, of course, and Sidekick there's having a few issues online by the looks of it, as you can tell by his name, Shubes. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm just enjoying the Super Cup as we speak. It's interesting. You've got Atalanta that I don't know if you know this, but where they're based, they actually do this thing where if a newborn child is born within their city, they actually give them a kit or something. And then you've got Real Madrid, who are like literally the biggest club in the world,
Oh,
literally, and
yeah.
who everyone knows, and no one gets. I don't think anyone gets anything free from them. So
Hmm.
just seeing the contrast between I don't know, I wouldn't call Atalanta paupers, but they're selling up Princes and Real Madrid. So that'll be an interesting match. So yeah, looking for. I prefer this to kick off to the new season than the Community Shield because they can't call it the Charity Shield anymore because they don't declare how much money that is being raised to charity.
True, very true. Yeah, but those of us of a certain vintage still call it the Charity Shield, don't we? It's just kind of how we just kind of got brought up in the game. And yeah, I mean, I'm watching the Super Cup as well, wishing that one day I suppose will be. Who knows? I might be there next season. I mean, we're in the Europa League this season, so that gives us entry if we win it. So we shall see. But as you can tell from the background around us, we're previewing the game between Leicester and Spurs, which will be on our watch along tonight, which will be on our watch along on Monday night. Program starts at 7:40 for those who want to have a look. And yeah, it is going to be an interesting one, really. We kind of we're still kind of in the middle of the transfer window, so we're not too sure if this is going to be the final squad yet or not. But I mean, in terms of the players who will be ready for the Leicester game, it does look very promising, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I always said that obviously Chris was at the game on, we're both around Tottenham on Saturday, and
Mm.
I think I spoke to a few Spurs fans even beforehand, like a few weeks before, and I was like, I think there's a general optimism at the club that wasn't there last year because I think we've said since what 2015, January 2nd, 2015. Oh, is Harry Kane still going to be in the club? Is Harry Kane still going to be in the club? And for 6, 7 years, that was the case. Was Harry Kane still going to be at the club? And then once that fear was faced, or was actually realised, and then life moved on. They even though they say what do they say? The name on the badge on the front is actually bigger than the name on the back. And I'm like, not if you actually look at the actual spacing. If you look at the lettering and everything, generally the name of the badge is actually generally the name on the back is generally that wee bit bigger than the badge, but it's the idea that the badge is always more important
Mm.
and is always more
Yeah.
important than any one player.
Mm.
And we've had to face our worst fear. I think having the start that we had last season really helped for obviously the Chelsea game, which apparently was my fault because I wasn't in the country. It was like that there first, that's why we lost. I was like, there's nothing to do with me, but still.
I wouldn't be so sure of that. I mean, if you're in the country of
Yeah,
those
apparently
first
it was
10,
us.
something we lose when you're not there. I mean, who else can we blame? The
Well, well,
red cards
I
and
was actually. Well, I wasn't there for the Arsenal match where we drew at the Emirates. So I wasn't in the country then either. So I don't know why that's also not, why that also
well,
is also not my credit. But still,
because we drew them,
I'm just saying that obviously
we didn't win it. Sorry,
we didn't lose. Therefore, we didn't lose. So yeah. But all I can
we
say
didn't
is,
win.
we didn't win either. But yeah, apparently, if we lose, it's my fault. It's my fault and AVB's fault and leave the out, Enoch out, profit of the glory. I forgot what the other six are on the bingo card, but I'm sure we'll find them out sooner or later.
Of course, of course.
No, like I said, no, look, I think, we came into the season, we were 2 points off of, if we hadn't lost home and away to Wolves, I think that's my litmus test for the season. How do we do against Wolves home and away? Because that has been a match in which Wolves, because we've struggled against Wolverhampton Wanderers these last 2-3 years.
We always do. We always struggle with against them at home, and then you usually win away. But obviously, last season that didn't happen.
So that's my barometer. That's my benchmark. Obviously, Wolves have been weakened because they've lost Pedro Neto, I think, to Chelsea, who are buying absolutely everybody, it seems. But you can buy everyone in the world. But you can only register 25 players. I don't know how you can register so many players. And the rules have changed in terms of who you can loan out, because you don't want it to be human trafficking. You don't want to be buying all these players, stockpiling them, and then treating them like a piece of meat. And because obviously, if you look at our outgoings, I would like to think we've been a bit more kinder to our outgoings than say Chelsea have. And if you look at what apparently was happened to Chalobah, he's barred from everywhere. I mean, this is he's been at the club since he was 6 years old. Was it Gallagher was the captain, and they've treated him that way. So I like to think we have a more structured set of ins and outs. It's more of a rhyme and a rhythm. Well, what say you, Christopher?
Like I say, if you think about it, the way we treated our outgoings, I mean, last season Harry Kane played all our preseason friendlies, and then scored a hat-trick in the last game. Then and then he left. Emerson Royale, I mean, played all our friendlies as well, and then he missed out on the Bayern game because he'd already signed before AC Milan by that point. But at that point, and then so we kind of treat our players a little better than obviously Chelsea do, and that's kind of the environment we want.
Apart from wages and stuff like that, and
wages are coming on.
Wages and also you can actually say, look, you've joined a winning side here because we've won X, we've won this, we've won that, we've won this. You can't say that about But I like to think I think we are seeing some changes. I mean, I think we'll probably go on to our new signings, but I mean, Solanke is, as I can't think of any one time apart from Richarlison, I think, is the only time we've actually bought someone that was Premier League proven, for a pretty hefty price. I can't think of. I mean, Bissouma was Premier League proven, but we bought him at a discount because I think he was on. I think he had 1 year left on his contract. Similarly for Maddison, who was Premier League proven, but again had a year left on his contract. I believe Solanke had 3 years left on his contract, and by all means, they didn't really want to lose him. And obviously, I don't know what you think, Christopher, that it has taken this long for us to sign him, and obviously he hasn't had a chance to learn handball and integrate himself with the team and everything else. But I think, because I don't think we've had a full 65 minutes. We haven't. I know the release calls us that much. I think we've done a lot of creative bidding to see them. Look, this is the bid we'll finally put through. Because I don't think. I mean, I'm trying to think. I can't think of any team that has spent more on an individual player than us, apart from maybe not even Arsenal. Man City certainly haven't. Yeah, I'm sure they'll replace Alvarez. Whoever they put Alvarez with will be priced say 75, 80 million. But I don't think no one's really made any big signings. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Christopher. I think even United haven't made. I think their signings have been generally under 50 million each.
About that, yeah. And they've kind of signed a lot of players that, a couple of their players aren't. I don't want to do that in the French league. That's what other people do. I mean, I have a respect for the French league because we do produce a lot of gems. But a lot of their players, Yarrow that they've signed, not really recognizing this. So there could be an unknown quantity, which would be good, I guess.
Well, if you want to look at it collectively, I think one of the players they signed this morning, or this afternoon, whatever you call it, he went, was it 4 years ago was it 4 or 5 years ago to Juventus for 66 million or something like that. And every time he's moved, his price has gone down that little bit more. Okay, which I think, first of all, there's a new football reality that's been introduced a lot since COVID. Obviously, COVID changed everything, but I think people have realised that, you know what, you can't spend 85 or 100 million on someone and then work out how you're gonna, on someone from a new league, and how you're gonna incorporate them, how you're gonna adjust them, and everything. And then, I think it is harder now for players are finding, teams are saying that, you know what, we're going to structure our payments. And so I can't blame the club for saying, you know what, we're not going to pay you 60 million up front, we'll pay you X amount, which obviously, because if you look at it from Bournemouth's perspective, I don't think they want to lose Solanke. He was 19 goals to them last season.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
And so somehow they've got, I think, their replacement will be Nketiah. So, well, I'm not saying he's a terrible player, but he's not exactly, if he was as good as he thinks he is, he wouldn't be leading Arsenal right now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I guess Nketiah was never going to be playing fully for us. I mean, they've plowed their money into Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. So it was always going to be a tall order for him. And they're only going to keep him around because he's an academy player, really. So I guess now it's up to him to try and prove his worth, I guess.
I mean, for me, I always say with Solanke, there was a little because I know there's a Chris and I on a WhatsApp group, and there's one of our buddies, Mike. He is a big fan of Gyökeres because he's from Sporting, and I can see why Gyökeres would have been someone that people would have looked at because of his age profile and everything. Because Dominic Solanke, this is his last big move. I mean, unless he has like a ridiculous barnstorming 2 seasons and Real Madrid do come in for him 2 years later, I can't see him moving on for like 60, 70 million. Do you know what I mean? This is his last seriously big move that he's going to have. And I just think they've taken a huge risk, but I think it works. I don't think he's perfect. I think at the end of the day, there was this rant, I don't know, was it so some guy in Talk Sport or something was like, we had England's number 1 and now got England's number 4. And in all fairness, he's not wrong in all that. Do you know what I'm saying? Kane was still is England's number 1. Solanke missed the cut barely, it was either him or Tony, and they chose Ivan Toney, so he is England's number 4. But ultimately, I think he works for the kind of football we're looking to do. I think I can't pronounce the name of this Bournemouth coach. Is it Adriola? Idriola? I can't pronounce his name, but he had Bournemouth playing a much more possession-based approach.
Iriola,
which has Iriola with a lot of suppressing from the front. Now, I love Sonny. I love what he can do, but he does press without doubt. But his pressing is much better from the left wing than it is from up front. Let's just call it what it is. So I think from that perspective, it works very, very well. And do you guys remember? I don't know if anyone remembers. Was it Liverpool? I think under Rafa Benitez, they bought Dirk. Was it Dirk Kuyt? And he wasn't really any shakes. Yeah, he wasn't really any shakes of a player. But what he did do was he worked his socks off of the team, which enabled the likes of Gerrard and Alonso and everyone else to do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not going to disparage Solanke saying he's a Dirk Kuyt style player, but with his pressing and everything else, he gives us that ability defensively, and he can play back to goal. And look, I'm not expecting him to get 19 goals this season. I'm not expecting that at all. But if you look at the analysis, most goals are scored from people in the penalty box, and that's where he looks to stay. He looks to press in that area. So I think it works. I don't think he has the passing range to find, or the telepathy to find Sonny the way you would hope, where Harry Kane did, but that's not his job. His job is there to hold it up,
Yeah, we
and
won't be playing
hopefully
up in the sky now, so.
yeah. And like I said, I mean, has he got that Berbatov style back to goal play? No, I don't think he does. And I don't think it took us how many years? No, yes, Berbatov,
Yeah,
No,
arguable. Yeah. Arguable whether selecting or not, really. I mean, he's quite
yeah,
strong,
but
isn't he? And back up the
I think he's strong.
defender.
But has he got that first touch? I mean, I think he works. But like I said, I think it really works. And people will say we've got the cheap option because it's like, who would you want us to sign? The best striker in the world has gone to whatever you want to call it. He's either gone to Real Madrid on a free, so that's not going to be Mbappe, or it's Harry Kane, who we sold last year to Bayern Munich. I mean, I can't think of. I would love to think of a better number. And obviously, you've got Haaland, who's a City. You've got, that's it. Who are the number nines you're thinking of? I would love to know.
Well,
not you personally. Not you personally. The guys who talk sport. I'd love to know who they're. Yeah. So I think it works. I think.
Well, I was going to say they're all going to creaming all over Tony, really, but I would imagine that Andrew would have done his due diligence. He usually calls the players up before Spurs make the bid, and I imagine if we were interested in Tony, which I don't think we were, because his style does not fit in with what Andrew wants at the club. But if he did call him and he did have a chat with him, he wouldn't have liked his kind of attitude would not have fitted in with how Andrew wants to. I don't
want Ivan Toney to sue us. I'm not gonna. He can sue you, Chris, but I'm not gonna say anything bad about Ivan Toney's attitude. We've already seen what's happened when you say something on social media people don't like. So I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is I'm just going to say Ivan Toney probably. Bournemouth was not Bournemouth. Brentford play a counter-attacking style, which suits them. It doesn't suit what we want to do, and I don't think he's the player we were hoping to. I think we needed. I think we've done that. We've signed players in that position. I think that's where obviously we were lacking. Richarlison, unfortunately, is often injured. That's just not his fault. That's just the way things have worked out. I would love to see how quickly he comes up from injury now that Solanke isn't considered to be injured, kind of thing. And I'm assuming he'll be starting on Monday. Obviously, against Leicester. And Leicester. I mean, I don't. If you look at Leicester, I mean, Leicester are probably kings of like why you don't spend money like daft buggers, as they say up north, because they've had to sell Dewsbury Hall, who was one of their better players, to Chelsea. And I think they brought a few players in, but I think one of the players they were linked with was Joe Rodon, who obviously went to Leeds. I think the fact that he chose Leeds over Steve Cooper, who managed him, I think at Swansea, I want to say, because I think Leicester, they are at really. First of all, whenever you join a Premier League promoted side, there's always a risk. But a new promoted side with a spectre of points deductions, that's that's nobody wants that. And so I think, I mean, you've got that. So I think that's the reason why I think we spent sensibly. I mean, people will say we haven't, strengthened the team, and I can't argue with that. I don't think you can say that we've, but can you really upgrade Heung-min Son? Well, I'd love to know who you'd upgrade him with. He scored 17 goals last year. Who are you going to upgrade him with? And especially the fact that he was played out of position for most of it. He was also in South Korea for the national side for about a month. So then people will say, well, look, we need to upgrade on number 6. Well, so basically you want Rodri, but not Rodri. Okay, well, good luck. I don't know, players like Rodri. Well, I don't know. They don't grow. Do they grow on trees? They seem to grow quite a lot in Spain, obviously. Players like Zubimendi, Adrian Ruiz. But
speaking of Spain, I was just going to say that just for the people who are watching us back, just know that we are we're recording at the right time. Atlanta just hit the post, so they're getting closer and closer to scoring.
And I think, if you look at Atalanta, I mean, Atalanta are playing. Obviously they've had to sell. I know they've had to sell a few players. I mean, they've over the years. I don't know if they still got that Dutch player. Is it Cooper Miners? Many were linking with Man United, and Edison, who we were linked to as well.
Mm.
And people say, well, we cheaped out because we didn't buy Edison. Well, first of all, there's no guarantee that those players are going to fit. There's no guarantee that players even want to come. I mean, I don't know where. I think Atalanta are based in a place called Bergamo, which is where somewhere I know, because that's where Bergamo is where you get the oil that you put into Earl Grey tea. That's the reason why I know what Bergamo even is. But
it's quite near to Milan. We usually fly to that when we play Milan.
And I think Atalanta play. I think Atalanta they play in Milan at the San Siro because their own stadium isn't big enough.
Yeah,
kind of thing for Champions League game. And Gasparini, if you look at Atalanta are holding their own against a much more expensively assembled Real Madrid side. So, like I said, I mean, I don't know who you'd want to get. Like Real Madrid have lost Toni Kroos, and he's retired. Luka Modric is going to probably retire next year or the year after. They replaced him with a young lad. Well, I'm assuming a young lad in Arda Güler, who they brought, who featured quite a lot for Turkey last season in the Euros. Sorry, and he's obviously a very talented young player. But it's not a case of the players. If the players are there, they're bloody expensive. Do you know what I mean? And they're huge risks, and people aren't taking those chances. Unless they can get them on the cheap. So,
well, I suppose so I suppose we'll cover the whether we're happy with what's coming or out of Spurs in the second part of the show. But let's have a little talk about the Leicester game. I mean, I know that as I said at the top that obviously the winner's not close, so we haven't really finalised the squad as it stands, and reports of more outgoings as well. Reguilon apparently is close to leaving and whatnot. But in terms of the core players that are actually going to be staying and playing, who would you like to see, who do you think should be on the starting lineup on Monday? Because I imagine that obviously, yeah.
I got shit for saying this, but I'm going to stand by this. I mean, I don't know. Again, it's about individual fitness, how fit these players are, because the last thing you want is to bring these players back in, especially with someone like, say Rodrigo Bentancur. He spent a year injured, and then he obviously came back. He got injured again, came back, but I don't think he was the same player, because in terms of the injury, he was still recovering. And I would, do you play him? Obviously, well, I don't know if we can even speak about Bissouma and like what's going to happen with him, because for me, what he did was extremely unprofessional. And I prefer, for me, honestly, I'd drop him from the squad. I'd drop him from the squad and relegate him to the Premier League 2 squad. As in, like, not only are you training with them, you are training with them, you are going to have to park while they park. Do you know what I'm saying? And everything, because first of all, you're a professional footballer. I remember when I was young, we used to have access to helium balloons because I was working in a shop that had helium balloons, and we play with the helium tanks and put our voices in there so we sound like very high pitched, and that was very amusing. Do you know what I'm saying? now we know that's not a very good idea. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to right now, please do not play with helium tanks, okay? But the whole nitrox thing, it's really bad decision making, because first of all you did it, then you recorded it, and then you uploaded it to social media.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? How dumb can you be? How dumb can you possibly be? And then, so for me, I have no problem. Like, and look, if he was killing it for us, then yes. But yeah, he had one game I think he did remotely well again, and now it's against QPR. And as Ange himself said, it's only a friendly, Biss. Do you know what I mean? It was only a friendly. We know he has ability. We know he can play well. But will the real Bissouma please stand up? So I personally,
Yeah.
I've got crap for saying this, but I think Christian, because I said I didn't know whether Christian Romero would start. Same with Van der Ven, and same with Dragusin. So not Dragusin, Bentancur, because they were at the Euros both were at the Euros and at the Euro International tournaments quite deep. You know, Van der Ven was at the semis. I don't think he played that many games with Holland, in all fairness, but obviously he had to be fit.
Mm.
He hasn't had a chance to rest. You know, and the
Came
last,
off the bench.
both Romero and we lost Romero and Van der Ven to injuries. So I actually would play Dragusin just because he's had a very good, Euros. He's played well. He's trained well. I actually would play Dragusin and Van der Ven, and have Romero on the bench, or have Romero on the bench, but say, you know what? After 60 minutes, you're coming off. And we're going to be, because we need to save your legs for a little bit. So we're going to ease you back into because obviously, I think next international break is in September, isn't it? 9th of September or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not that long, and then they go. It's not that long. They go off again. So the way I look at it, he's going to risk an injury anyway. When he goes off international breaks. So therefore, what I play. I mean, ideally, it's Iron season. If he thinks, the medical staff think, you know what, is he fit enough? Is his everything? They do all the tests and scans, and that's it. So I would say, because Romero did look. If you look at that, I rewatched the match, and obviously Bayern Munich. It's only a friendly, and they're already 3-1 up, so they don't really need to try that much. But if you look at it like like a game in two halves, we won that second half 1-0, and Bayern Munich didn't really threaten anything really in that second half. Not really.
We managed to stop them, really. Yeah, we managed to stop them from getting into our area. That's probably why, and which is, I guess, is a testament that we did the second half side and what's the first half side. But then again, in that game, we started off so well, and Bissouma was kind of marshalling very well, and then just kind of like a slackened off really, and I guess now we can kind of understand why. But so
for me, I would actually play a back for Porro. Play a first back for Porro. Wasn't with Spain, obviously, which obviously he'll be pissed about, but he has a chance to. I actually think Pedro Porro will be our player of the season. Not because I think you've got players who won at the Euros, like Maddison, like Solanke, like Porro, who want to say, I want to make a choice. I think these will be contenders. So I would say Porro, the usual back four, Porro. Again, I think, as a Destiny Adogi, he was out for a long, long time. I think he only played, half a game? And we're asking him to play, at least a couple of games before he goes off international break. So unless we're going to do like a Sir Alex Ferguson and say, I think he's got a hamstring injury or something, And I don't think the Italians team doctors are going to buy that somehow. Do you know what I'm saying? But I guess we'll see.
Very true.
No, so I just think I think I'm playing that front four. I would play Bentancur just because I think he's got that reading of the game. He's so assured of the ball. I think obviously Archie Gray had a good game as well in that when he played the midfielder, but it's such a huge step up. And I think he'll get his minutes coming on eventually. I would play. This is where it gets interesting because it's an away game. So do you play the box to box, that is Pape Maté Sarr kind of thing, who is going to be defensive? Who's going to be defensively minded, or do you play two number 10s? In both Maddison and Kulusevski. Personally, I think Maddison. This is going to be interesting. I think Maddison will play, but if he doesn't do what is required of him, I can imagine that Ange will have no problem taking him off, playing Maddison, playing Kulusevski where Maddison was, and playing Johnson on the right. So I think it will be Johnson. I personally think it will be a 4-3-3. Bentancur, the deepest, with Sarr just in front of him, being the legs for Bentancur, and Maddison just ahead of them. That weird staggered 4-3-3, however you want to call it. I think you'll have Sonny on the left, Solanke up front, and Brennan Johnson on the right wing. And for me, I honestly wouldn't be averse to playing Mikey Moore there. Not Mikey Moore, not Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski. If someone said to me, who would you bring on the subs bench? I am more likely to say Mikey Moore than I would say Brennan Johnson. I think Brennan Johnson wasn't terrible, and the guy got 10 assists last year. I think it was 10 assists, and how many goals? Six goals. So that's still an impressive contribution. 16 goal contributions. That's impressive. Do you know what I'm saying? For your debut season, especially when you've joined very late into the season, I think that's quite impressive. But I think with Brennan Johnson, if you could combine his speed with Mikey Moore's quality with the ball, that's a player that goes to Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? You know? I think if you look at Mikey Moore, there was that beautiful moment where he did this absolutely beautiful turn, and he got the drop on Paulinho. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that level of speed, and there was no one ahead of him that he could just do a Gareth Bale and just charge up the pitch. But what he did show was real quality and real imagination and real creativity in his movement. So that'll be my team. Solanke up front. That'll be is your team that much different?
Not that much different, no. I mean, I suppose the back four kind of writes itself, really, isn't it? So I guess we just kind of dwell on that one. I imagine that I mean, what we saw in the second half against Bayern Munich at home is pretty much sort of what how I expected to start. Udogia on the left alongside Van der Ven, Romero, Pedro Porro will be on the right, obviously. Where I suppose that's where I have the dilemma. Who will be at the number 6? Maybe I think Rodri will probably be Rodrigo Bentancur before anyone says. I call him Rodri.
You plonker. I call him Rodders, but yeah.
But I mean, I'm kind of warming to the idea of him now starting as a deep lying midfielder with Sarr as a box-to-box player. People, I hear you when people were talking about playing 2-10s. I just think that's suicide. It's either you have the box-to-box player who can then run into the box and provide that assist, whilst also having the legs to defend. Or if you have 2-10s, we're just going to leave our midfield wide open. And I know people will say that our midfield's wide open anyway, but at least it would be even worse if we play 2-10s. So
I'm gonna. So where would it be different then? Where would it be different then?
It would be different in my eyes with I know he doesn't want to play there, but I would say Kulusevski on the right.
I think Kulusevski will be on the right wing. I think Kulusevski will be on the right wing. I'm just saying that if Maddison doesn't play as he wants to and Ange wants to and the whole team wants to, kind of thing, I can see him.
But you said Johnson on the right, which is
No. What I'm saying is that it will be a case. No, I'm saying it will be Kulusevski on the right, kind of thing. However, I'm thinking it could be. I think it's a toss up between Kulusevski and Johnson. I think it's going to be good to Kulusevski just because he has performed better, kind of thing. And I think we've seen quite a lot that I think there was a few times that Sarr would do the overlap, and obviously with Toro underlapping as well, they're both going to be the right wing options, kind of thing. And you've got that ability that Kulusevski. I think Kulusevski will drift more into the middle, kind of thing. And it'll be more a case of Porro underlapping and Sarr overlapping, if that makes sense. And that's where we're going to get that kind of like those right foot crosses in. I think Sonny, we know, is ambidextrous, can play either side. So I think that's how it's going to work. But I'm saying if Maddison doesn't do what we're hoping he'll do, I think Maddison will, I think in terms of substitutes, I can see Johnson going to the right, Kulusevski being pushed to the middle, or Mikey Moore. But I think, and same again, that's what I'm looking at, because I look at our bench and there's something that I can say that we have not more quality. I think Højbjerg was a great player. I think people have a go at Højbjerg, and I'm not saying because I'm good buddies with TC, who's a good buddy of mine, and he's a huge fan of Pierre Højbjerg. But I just think if you look at our squad, we've got what I call it is that we've got the starters kind of thing, we've got the depth, and we've also got the Simbas. And by the Simbas, I'm saying the young cubs who are looking to make a name for themselves. And I say that because Dele Alli back in 2015 was a young cub. I mean, I think who was the starter? I think it was Nabil Bentaleb and Eric Dyer. And Moussa Dembele. People forget Moussa Dembele wasn't even starting. It was Nabil Bentaleb and Eric Dyer, because Bentaleb had a really good season the year before. And then suddenly he kind of went off the boil. And then I think Dyer was suspended, though he had to play Moussa Dembele. And then Moussa Dembele played a fantastic match against Liverpool. I think against Klopp's Liverpool, I think it was, in Klopp's first Liverpool match. He had an absolute amazing game, so you couldn't drop him. They brought back in Eric Dyer, and that was it. They never looked back. And then I think Dele Alli started to feature more and more and more. He showed that he was kicking ass in training. And I think you've got players like Lucas Bergvall, you've got players like Jamie Donnelly, you've got players like Alfie Devine, and I think you've got players like Archie Gray. And I think they're young, they're hungry, they haven't had, obviously they've not been away apart from with the Euros, and they've got players to prove. And I think you've got. I am more. Conte would say, "Look, I'm looking at that bench. Who can I bring on?" That's what. Because if you think about it, our team was good enough for fourth, and our team finished ahead of Arsenal. Was it 2 years ago? And yes, Arsenal, finished ahead of us in 2023. And they've obviously added in terms of adding Rice and Calafiori, but they haven't really added that much. They obviously have added Havertz and maybe Jesus, but they've strengthened that team. I think if you look at the team that we had in 2022, obviously we lost Kane, and Kane's a huge loss. But if you have the likes of Maddison, of Romero, of Van der Ven, we've got a very good team. And we had that. There's a reason we were top of the league. And we hadn't played any no-mods. We played United, we played Liverpool, we drew at the Emirates. So it's only when the injuries happened did we show a lack of depth, And that's where we really struggled. And I think this year, I'm not saying, look, if any team gets injuries, they're going to struggle. That's just the nature of the beast it is. But I think in terms of the young players we have, I'm more confident in our ability to play an Archie Gray or a Lucas Bergvall or an Alfie Devine. I think I am much more confident in those players than I would have been last year. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually, I suppose that actually leads into my next question. Actually, I know it wouldn't happen because obviously he's a vice captain and everything. But would you start Bergvall instead of Maddison?
I actually would start Kulusevski ahead of Maddison, honestly, in the number 10, personally. But I think the way that he's looking to play, I think with the fact that he's going back to the King Power kind of thing, I think this is. I'm not saying this is his make or break it, because I think, look, we've seen Jed Spence come back from out of the cold. Do you know what I'm saying? And look, and again, it's a friendly. David Bentley looked brilliant in a friendly against Roma. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not what you judge the season on. Do you know what I'm saying? I think Maddison has enough credit in the bank, kind of thing. But is he recovered from his injury? I don't know, honestly, because if you look at Harry Winks, he never recovered from his injury, and we took us 4 years to get rid of him, kind of thing, after his injury.
Yeah.
I don't see Ange being as not ruthless, but I just think one of the problems we had back in the day is that if players were injured and they were always unreliable, we weren't willing to shoot Bambi. Do you know what I'm saying? You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
Ange is happy to literally not only shoot Bambi, he'll probably eat him raw. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
This would have been crying out for a long time.
And I think, it's not like it's kind of like, look, I'm not saying like I'm not going to put Paul Maguire in the same category, because obviously there was a hard drinking culture, and he wanted to change things, and Paul Ryan was an easy name to do that with. But Paul Maguire had really bad knees. I know he did very well with Villa, and he went to, when he played for an accent, did very, very well. But you were always worried about his knees. Was he going to be fit enough? And in the end, he got rid of players, and that's what Sir Alex Ferguson did. If you weren't going to be someone he could rely on, he had no qualms getting rid of you. And I think that's what we need. I think so. Personally, I don't think being vice captain will guarantee him a place in the team. And I think more importantly, I think Ange said, look, if you look at people say a lot, and take it from what you will. He said, look, leadership can come from anywhere. Do you know what I'm saying? When he handed Sonny the captaincy, it's not about what you say, it's about your behaviours in training, on the dressing room, around the pitch. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you're not doing what needs to be done, he will get rid of you. Gio Lo Celso, who I think people forget, Gio Lo Celso helped make the winning goal for Argentina, and he does seem to rate Gio Lo Celso. He played him, but we're looking at selling him because he's only got a year left. He didn't feature against Bayern Munich, and I think it was Jamie Donnelly. Jamie Donnelly did he play in the Bayern Munich match? I can't remember now. Did Jamie Donnelly play? I don't think Jamie Donnelly and Alfie Devine didn't play. I don't think either of them played today. I think they played in the. I think they would have played in the game in South Korea. I don't think they played. I don't think they played in the Wahalan game, but I think the fact that those two were in the squad ahead of Gio Lo Celso says something, and I think you're more likely to see them. So no, I think Maddison has the chance, but I hope he doesn't snatch at chances. And I'm just saying, look, play a game. If you've got that ability to play a game, I think having someone like a Solanke, because the pressure is not going to be on Maddison, it'll be on Solanke. Do you know what I mean? He's the player that we spend a lot of money on. That's who the pressure is going to be on. So I think the pressure is going to be off Maddison. So I think he will play, but I think just like Nabil Bentaleb found with Lucas Bergvall, just like Ryan Mason. Ryan Mason, I'm not saying he was any great stakes as a player that oh my god, we're not playing him or something. But if you look at, say, Ryan Mason from back in the day, who is it? Who was there that year? You had Paulinho, you had Capu, you had other players, and he just said, no, I'm going to play Ryan Mason and Nabil Bentaleb over you boys. Do you know what I'm saying? They are doing what I need them to do in training. They are doing what I require of them, what I require of my players. And so I go the same thing way again. I think if Lucas Bijval, I see it's more likely that players like Lucas Bijval will be starting in the Europa League. Maybe not straight away. They'll get more minutes in the Europa League, kind of thing. But people forget, Deliak, do you know who was, I think Sonny's first goal for us was not in his league debut against was it Southampton? I can't remember who his league debut was against. I think his first goal for us was in the Europa League, and he was assisted by Dele Alli, if memory serves me. I was at that match. I don't remember who the hell we played. It was some Eastern European team. I remember we went down a goal, but he trusted that. He trusted that team to find. Poch trusted that team to find a way, and we did. And so I do think, you've got, so I think, I think we will see Archie Gray play. I think we will see Lucas Bergvall get minutes as a substitute. And I think we will see maybe Will Lancashire come on, get some minutes. But, for me personally, I'm happy with our season because, look, if we gone out and bought a ton of players, I say, well, you're not giving your young kids a chance. How are they going to get a chance? And if we don't give our young kids a chance to come off the bench, they'll say we ain't got any depth. Bloody Levy, bloody Joe Lewis, bloody Enoch, So I just say, do you know what? I think I'm lucky in terms of the fact that both Christopher and I have had a chance to see. I haven't seen much Mikey Moore, but I have seen Jamie Donnelly. I have seen Will Lancashire. I haven't seen obviously Tyrese Hall. Obviously, I think Tyrese Hall will be going on loan. But Alfie Devine, I was able to see a few years ago, and you've got players there who can fill a role. I mean, Alfie Devine can play as a number 8. He can play as a number 10, and he can also play out wide. I think that's more Mikey Moore's role now. You've got players like Timo Werner, and people forget Timo Werner. Although this is about 4 years ago, he cost Chelsea a pretty penny, and I'm glad that we haven't spent that much money on that because we've got someone like Sonny, we've got Mikey Moore who's coming through, and you've got Timo Werner who's the player in the middle kind of thing, who's a player that I think we can play if we need to, and I don't think he's going to kick up a fuss if he's not playing every single match. But I think he will also look at this. I think he also looks at this as my opportunity. If I kill it in Europa League, chances are that people are going to want to see me. Because I think, we saw last year, he had chances and they were gilt-edged. He just wasn't taking them. Now, Sonny did the same thing. In his first few years, Sonny would be one-on-one, bearing down, and somehow he'd fluff his lines. And in the last 3-4 years, he hasn't done that. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying we can afford Timo Werner the same amount of time. But what I'm saying is players can improve. With the right coaching and the right framework, they can improve. Because if you look at Dominic Solanke, with the right coaching and the right framework, he's gone from being a player who had a lot of potential at Liverpool, because they signed him for a lot of money. I think they nicked him from Chelsea, but I think there was some weird deal they did. Do you know what I mean? But then Bournemouth signed him for a lot of money from Liverpool, didn't really do anything, and it took him 3-4 years, and now he went up. He's joined us at 60-odd million. Yeah. So I think we don't invest enough in coaching, and I think we are looking at that. I mean, I think was it Chris Davies went to Birmingham City? He's the manager there. I think he's the manager there, and I think he chose them to say, "Look, I'd rather take over a League One side and really put my stamp on it than say take over Swansea, where there's a little bit more pressure." And I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea how Birmingham City did. I haven't really followed them because they're not in. I think they're in League One, but and we've signed in 2 more coaches, and and Matty Wells has been promoted from within. He hasn't brought someone else in, so we've added to the coaching team, and I think it's not as if we're staying in flux. I mean, we may add more coaches, we may not. We may add more players, we may not. Personally, I don't see us adding any more players, unless a really good deal comes along, unless, say, someone like Eze, comes for a really good price, and they'll say, do you know what, we can work for that price. But do you see, realistic? Desiree Doué's gone to PSG. They've bought a whole bunch of players. They bought in Ruiz. They're still trying to sell Ugarte to try and balance the books. They've got a very good midfield, but they can't play all their players. They've got to rotate. Some players will be more happy to rotate than others. And I mean, who do you see us bringing in? If you say right now, I mean, apart from say left back, because I don't think Jed Spence. I know he played there for Genoa last year and for Rennes as well. He's not my first choice left back, kind of thing. Who would you play there? Who else would you look? Who would you look for us to bring in? A left back or left centre back?
Well, I suppose we're going to
I mean,
be. I suppose that
I can think of one player. I think of one player.
I was going to say moves
That's
into the next section, which is whether we're happy with the transfer window thus far. As you mentioned, the left back slot. I know the plan is to have like a two-player for every position. If the idea is, well, from what I understand, Jed Spence is being kept. I think that's confirmed by one of those famous ITKs. So he will be playing. But at the same time, there was also reports saying that Archie Gray will be used at right back, which I don't believe for a second. So I'll imagine Spence will be kept.
I think Archie Gray. I think he can play. He can play there. I think he'll get minutes there. I think in the Europa League he'll get minutes there. But I think he's more likely going to be playing in defensive midfield. But like I said, you want versatile players. And if you look at the way Ajax play, they have players that can fill in. I mean, that's just, I mean, I remember back in the day, Chris Sutton, who was signed as a striker, but started off centre half. I think in his later years, if they didn't have the numbers, they'd ask him to play a centre half. Not because that wasn't his best position, that wasn't, but he could play there because he knew how to play there from before.
Mm-hmm. But in terms of me, to follow on from what I was saying, that if Gray is going to be utilised as a cover at right back, and then Spence, I guess, will move to left back. But I don't believe that will happen. I believe Spence will, as he's staying, he will be cover at right back. So in terms of left back, I mean, the only person that we have left there is Ben Davies, and he can't really play the system that and wants, although he can cover quite well. I can't quite think who I want there at left back, really.
No. And that's the thing. I mean, I'd like to see us sign Evan Ndika, who plays for Roma.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the speed and everything, and if need be, we can play him at left back. Because if you look at what Arsenal have done, Arsenal have just basically, you know what, we can't find the right backs and left backs we were looking for, so we're just going to play centre half there. That's it. So Evan Ndika, I think he's the one player that I think we haven't looked at. But then, I mean, like I said, I don't know who they're scouting, who they're looking at. But that would be the one player that I would look for us to bring in if possible. But that's it.
If the rumours are true, I mean, we were looking to get hold of Henderson from Monaco. I mean, he's going to be a £40 million player.
Is he a left back or right back? Is he a? So I just don't see that happening. I just don't. So I just don't see what's the point. We already have Porro, we have Spence, we have Gray. So I just don't see us finding a player that. I just think it's just. I think it's called silly buggers. You know what I mean? It's just a case of they're trying to drum up some interest in him, and like I said, maybe we are going to sign him. I don't know, but like I said, Archie Gray, no one had us linked to him at all. No one. And then suddenly, he's going to Brentford. No, he's not going to Brentford, and we've signed him. And that was it. I'm trying to think, who else did we sign? Oh God, who else have we signed in this window? As in the summer.
In the summer
window.
That's Werner and Solanke. We also signed Heung-min Hook, who will be coming in January.
And again, we weren't linked to him at all, and then suddenly it was like all this stuff like going on about it, and then he was obviously signed by us. But that was it. So, like I said, maybe the rumour is true, but like I said, unless Fabrizio Romano says it, or Alistair Gold, I don't trust any of these journalists. I mean, is it Paul O'Keefe? Who was it? I think it wasn't Paul O'Keefe. I mean, there's a guy, I'll give him a shout out. He's SW Spurs on Twitter. Give him a follow. He was really saying, Solanke deal's not happening at all. And suddenly it was happening again. It's like, well, no. Most of these, Fabrizio Romano has got a very good scouting journalistic sourcing network, and he pretty much knows. So he called, Emerson to Milan long before it happened. He rarely gets it wrong. So I just don't see us signing anyone. I mean, so unless it comes to the end of the window, I mean, Roma. I don't know whether they have to do any qualifications or Champions League or Europa League. There's a whole Friedkin things going on. So like I said, maybe that would like I said. I mean, was it Brennan Johnson? That only came about because I think for the PSR thing. I think that's already been sorted, hasn't it? I mean, PSR for last year, all that club trading and horse trading that happened.
That was what's been done by. So yeah, it's all completed.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not saying it can't happen because obviously the window closes in 13 days. Is that right?
Is it not? Is it end of August, isn't it? Yeah.
End of August. So 13, 14 days. So I think we will see activity. But again, it's not just a case of player A is going to move. Player A will only move if that selling club can bring in someone to replace him. If that, because that's how it works.
Hence why
people don't want to be here. Yeah, because I'm thinking of Solanke. They didn't want to lose him, and then now they've realised they are going to lose him. They're going to have to pay a lot more money for whoever replaces him because they say, well, you've got 60 million in your pocket. We know you're going to be getting money in. So, they've got to figure out who they've got to sign up. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you look at, say, it was Alvarez, Man City, they haven't signed anyone to sign Alvarez yet. Replace Alvarez. They may or may not. I think Oscar Bob, he's a striker, but they may look to sign someone. I don't know who they're going to sign. Maybe it will be Victor Osimhen. Maybe they'll sign him on loan from Napoli, or they'll sign Lukaku on loan from Napoli.
They've already signed Chavinho, haven't they? So
he's not a striker. He's not a striker. He's a winger. But I'm just saying same
with Oscar Bob. He's a winger.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We haven't. I think there's a lot more deals to happen because I think because of PSR, because of sustainability rules, because of just the way the market has shifted, a lot more clubs are being a lot more prudent in how they spend their money because you can't. I think Barcelona, they signed Olmo, but I don't know how they're going to register him because they've got to do this thing with La Liga. You know what I'm saying? Who they, so people will be looking at Barcelona thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind looking at some of their players, signing them on loan. You know what I'm saying? And Barcelona may kick them out just because they have to, just because of the way, because the Spanish league system is very good. They say, look, these are the players you're signing. Can you register them? If you can't register them, that's it. You can't play them. So I think there will be a lot of last-minute horse trading. Loans and everything. Because that may or may not happen. I'm not saying like if someone says to us, we'll sign, we'll let you have a Rafinha. I'll take him. You kidding me? That's a great signing.
I'm just trying to think, will Rafinha fit into how Ange wants to work though? Because
no, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that's the player we were linked with 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think
is the point I was trying to make that there's been a lot of players that have been linked, especially during the Ange era. A lot of players that we've been linked with, but a lot of them don't actually make too much sense. And
nothing.
Because
Ange is very specific. Ange is like, look, I know we took Manor Solomon on from, who did we take him from? Shakhtar Donetsk. But that was because of that weird. That was that weird transfer thingy that happened. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There was no one else apart from Werner. There's no one else we took on loan apart from Werner now. You know what I'm saying? And that's because Werner's spoken to Ange. He's had that conversation. That's how it's worked. I can't imagine. In like the last time. Oh, that was close, brother. Oh, that was so close.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry. I know I'm a bit unprofessional, but I'm rooting for Atalanta in this match. So yeah,
everybody is. I think everybody is at the moment, but it's true. But yeah, I suppose in terms of the window now, are you happy with the business that we've done so far?
Yeah, I'm happy. I think it's not perfect, but it's good. I think again, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I don't. know who else we can sign. I mean, I think, like I said, the window's still, there's still, I think, stuff to happen. There's still movement that will happen, kind of thing. But I said, I think if someone said to me, we've signed Ndika, then I'll be like, yeah, that's a good signing. That's a good signing. He covers 2 positions, pretty well. Yeah, I'm good with that. But apart from that, no, I can't think of any other players, that I think we'd want. I mean, Arsenal haven't, apparently they need to sign a goal scorer. Well, they still finished second in the league. And if it wasn't for us throwing the game against Man City, they could have won the league title. I still think Arsenal are going to win the league this season. I still think that.
Especially if Man City's trial starts this Friday, so I'm hoping that they'll get
but I don't think they're going to do that. I think the case won't happen. Like with everything that goes on and the amount of lawyers that Man City have, I don't see anything happening until next summer. Not really. They won't do anything until next summer. They'll wait till the season's over. We make some mockery, but to be fair, they're making a mockery of PSR and everything else and all that kind of stuff since they've been in the league anyway. Since they allowed Etihad to become their sponsor. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that horse is already bolted. Do you know what I'm saying? That horse has left the stable and is now basically on a stud farm shagging other horses. Do you know what I mean?
But in terms of, let's bring it back to Spurs. Am I happy with the window? I'll say if I look at each position, I mean Austin has looked quite good. I know he's had a few shaky performances in the season.
I think Brandon Austin. I think personally, I think if we can get a better goalkeeper in, we will, kind of thing. Again, I think Brandon Austin will go. No, not a better goalkeeper than Vicario. I'm saying a better second choice keeper than say Brandon Austin. I think Brandon Austin will go to be number 3. I think well, the only thing could be the homegrown rule, but I think Luca Gunter. He could be number 3, and because I don't know who's Luca Gunter. I don't know who's number 3 at the moment. I don't know who number 3 is right now. I think he's
still with us.
Oh God, he's the one that went to Djurgården. Oh, well, not Djurgården. Degerfors, sorry. Alfie Whiteman, sorry. But I can see Alfie Whiteman going on loan. And if we can't get anyone better than Luca Gunter, we'll pay Luca Gunter and Brandon Austin as our 2 homegrowns, alongside Ollie Skip as our club trained, And I'm not going to try and do the numbers on that. That's just an absolute nightmare. But I think for the 25-26 season, we're going to have quite a few homegrowns because I think Jamie Donnelly, Will Lancashire, and not Mikey Moore. I think Mikey Moore will still be on the B list, but I think Jamie Donnelly, Alfie Devine, and Will Lancashire will be on that. I think Will Lancashire. Yeah, I don't know if he. Yeah, I think he'll be. I think they're on the 21. I don't know how the numbers work, but we'll have a lot more homegrowns. I think Ollie Skip will be kept just purely because he's homegrown. Do you know what I'm saying? For at least a year, if not 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is unfortunate, but
he didn't play.
And I think
in the friendlies, so
no. And I think he's a solid player, and you'll always want a player that's willing to be a squad player. Do you know what I'm saying? Who can do his it won't be the best player. I mean, I'm trying to think who Man United had. I think if you remember, remember the twins Man United had, the Brazilian twins? They weren't the best players, and then eventually they were moved on.
Raphael or somebody else, wasn't it?
Raphael, but they played and they kept around, and that for whatever reason, and I think you will keep Ollie Skip around just for those same reasons. So so like I said, I think for me personally, I'm not looking at this past the Leicester City game. I think that's the squad I'm going with. I think if you look at our subs bench, it's deep. I don't know if Richarlison will be back by then because he hasn't played that many minutes, and whether they're going to play him in a. I'll be interesting. I mean, was it the Premier League 2? You're allowed to play. I one or two overage players, if that makes sense.
Two.
I think you're allowed to do that. I think Lucas.
Yeah.
I know Lucas did play with the Premier League 2 side before for 3 matches before he left us, kind of thing. And I can see Richarlison's doing that to get some fitness. So but yeah, that's how I said. Yeah, I think Will Lancashire will get his league debut with us against Leicester, and I think you'll see Lucas Bival, Archie Gray, maybe Jamie Donnelly, maybe Alfred Devine also make their Premier League debuts for us in that match, because ultimately Leicester are a championship side. They haven't really added anyone really, and therefore I think you can afford to give players like that minutes, So I don't know, that's just one way. But yeah, I think we've done a good hour here, Christopher. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know we just slightly touched on Basuma, really, and I did cover that in the Rantz a couple of days ago when the day after it all.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to leave, but I think he's someone that. I mean, I'd play him. I would play him and whatchamacallit, Richarlison in the Premier League. It's just Richarlison, him to get fitness. I don't think he should be punished, as in like, oh, we're sending you down there as a punishment, because I think that's an insult to the other Premier League 2 players. But I think you have to drop him from the squad, because what he did was unprofessional, and I think you've got to fine him at least a couple of weeks' wages.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that the club are a bit more. Well, as I said in the Rantz, I kind of hope that the club are a bit more sympathetic, because in my case, in my thoughts, there must be an underlying reason for all that, because you go back to last season, the way he started off so well, and after the
but sympathetic why though? Sympathetic why? No, sympathetic why, because
sorry.
It's not. What I'm saying is, it's not as if he's. How do I put it? First of all, but people don't know this. To use nitrous oxide in the UK is illegal. It is. It's illegal. No, that's the first thing. Okay.
As a drug, illegal, yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised because considering how many people are being done for their social media stuff right now, if the old Bill don't say, do you know what? We're going to charge you, but we're going to ask you to accept a caution. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't be. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you and I did that, okay, that would be considered enough grounds for us to be fired from our jobs easily.
But especially if I was to come back to what I was saying, that hopefully they'll look into it a bit more, because as I brought in last season's good start, and then the way it kind of tailed off after the red card, the bad performance, and another red card, I think it was, and then it was kind of like
African nations injuries.
At the time I just put it down to like a loss of confidence. But looking into that, I'm kind of now wondering, how long has this been going on? Has he been on kind of like drugs these
players do a lot of whatever. I just think personally it just reeks of unprofessionalism, and I think you have to punish that, and they'll do the investigation. Whatever will happen. But I think the way I look at it is this, right? You've got Rodrigo Bentancur, who's now back. He's now fully healed, okay? And you've got Archie Gray and Lucas Bival, who are the young Simbas. Do you know what I'm saying? For that role. How dumb do you have to be to do something that stupid to risk your team place in the team? I'm sorry. It reeks of stupidity.
There must be an underlying reason. That's why I'm saying that there must be something going on. And if we want to try to get back to his past, then we have to I'm
going to say this now. Unless he has a Jake Livermore situation going on, okay, that's the only excuse I'm going to give. Do you know what I'm
saying? I hear that.
Because what Jake Livermore went through, I would not wish on man or beast. And apparently his then manager said, you know what? I didn't know that. I thought he was coping very well. Now I know how he was coping because he obviously had his, he was found out. Do you know what I mean, for what he was doing. But they said, look, he's had that personal tragedy. This is how he's coped, and unfortunately, he's gonna get in trouble. But there are mitigating circumstances. Unless there are those mitigating circumstances, I'm sorry, I'm throwing the book at him because it's a combination. Like, I mean, I don't know if you know my friends who are in the group, my WhatsApp group. I'm sorry, Handsome Miles, because he's a Cowboy, but apparently there was rumors. I don't know how true this was. The Dallas Cowboys. He's had this place called the White House not because of the American White House. Apparently they were doing loads of cocaine. Apparently, I don't know how true that was, but apparently that was a rumor. But apparently, allegedly, but because the Cowboys were doing so well at the time, they just looked past it. Do you know what I'm saying? You know. So even though they were failing drug tests and stuff like that, it was an open secret kind of thing. You know. I don't think, the way I look at it, Yu Pasuma hasn't got that money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? He had a very good season before his thing, and he never recovered it. It wasn't due to injury, it was due to suspension, and then he never recovered. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, is it, damn it, Real Madrid.
They just scored.
Obviously. Yeah, that was a really well worked goal. That was, and you've got to appreciate the quality. Valverde, he actually starts ahead often of Rodrigo Bentancur in the team, and the Uruguayan team is really built around him. And it's actually from. Do you know what? I don't know if the goalkeeper is Italian, but this actually comes from a very bad playing it out the back and intercepted, and that's it. High press. But if you look at do you know what? The skill by Vinicius Junior is sublime, and it is absolutely sublime. And there's nothing. And look, you can't. You want to blame Atalanta because they're following the ball rather than the players. I mean, I don't know who the hell is back. It's a very good third man run by Valverde, but my lord, that. If you want to say what Ange ball is, that was Ange ball. Pressing high, forcing the error, getting it wide. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's almost 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's pretty much tangible. I mean, and once everyone's bedded in, we'll be able to see the full extent of it. And we all see success this season. Of that, I am sure. And for me, success is pretty much a trophy or two, and that's literally, if we can't win the league, then it's literally looking at at least one trophy.
Oh god,
get that
was so close.
But
again. Sorry, I was feeling Junior not bearing down and go. This is why I'm so glad football's back. I mean, these are the proper friendlies. You know what I mean, this is when football starts, because the European Super Cup is what every team wants to win, and I don't care how many Real Madrid have won it. They want to win it for the 17th, 20th time or something. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, because they're winners. Of course, exactly. All winners want to win. It's only those that don't know how to win. They're just not doing it.
And the Real Madrid, if you're not watching, honestly, I was just watching this game. I'm sorry to people watching this podcast and stuff like that. I'm completely switched on. I'm so engrossed in this match. So apologies to our listeners.
That's right. We are due to wrap up now anyway. But just to reiterate our team for the Leicester game. So we have to agree. Vicario, we think this is what we would think. Vicario will be in goal. The back four will be literally the same, with Poro on the right, Romero, Van de Ven, and Udogie, providing all are fit. So they should be fine. And we agreed that the deepest line midfield would be Rodrigo Bentancur. We also agreed that the pivot will be Pat Matasar, who I guess hasn't really had the best of pre-seasons, but I mean, he's probably the real box-to-box player we have now after Højbjerg's been let go. Where we're kind of Madison, we're sure that Madison will start. Although, you think that maybe Kulusevski will get the chance there, and I think that probably Burfile will get the chance there. But we agree that Madison very will start, as is against Leicester. And then the front three, pretty much agreed. Solanke will start his debut with us with Leicester. Son on the left, and the captain, and on the right will be Kulusevski.
Yeah, and I think again, I think Kulusevski will want to have as good a game as he can, because he knows that Bernard Johnson is on that wing. I don't think Heung-min Son has much to fear from Timo Werner. But I think if I'm Solanke, he knows that, you know what, even though he played less games than I did, he still scored 17 goals, and if I don't play as well as I need to, Heung-min Son can come in, and if all Lancashire has a decent game, it shows decent quality in training, maybe he'll play. By the way, oh my God, I forgot. I completely forgot Ben Godfrey actually went to Atalanta. I completely forgot about that. And Atalanta aren't even playing. I don't know who. I think who was that player? Is it Ademola Lookman? I don't think he's even playing for them. Is he tonight? He scored a hat trick in the final.
Ademola Lookman. Yeah, he's playing.
Yeah, is he playing? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he's playing.
I'm not. Okay, but I was just completely, because the reason I recognise Ben Godfrey, because Ben Godfrey came from Everton, and so did Lookman. That's the reason why. Obviously, I know. Yeah. Sorry, viewers and listeners. I have been paying way too much attention to these last 10 minutes, but it was a bloody boring first half. But now it's really picked up.
But it is going to mean it's an interesting game actually out in Poland where the Super Cup. And then you just come back again. There's an interesting game out there in Poland, and hopefully Mondays will be an interesting game as well. Leicester City versus Spurs. We'll be doing a live watch along 7:40 on our YouTube channel and also on Instagram, and our community page is back up as well. So you'll be able to access the YouTube channel through the community page.
And apparently someone has left our supplement group. So I know he was well pissed. Apparently, and I was sending Christopher flowers and everything. Oh God! Oh God! That's. Do you know what? Much as I hate Real Madrid, when they play like this, it's hard to hate them, because the quality of the interplay is something to behold. It really is.
Yeah, and there's only one English team. I think that went undefeated against them in the Champions League, and that was us. So, maybe it wasn't us, but I still remember that season. That was a good season.
No. Anyway. I remember them kicking our ass a few times. It was the year that they won the Champions League. That's when we managed to beat them, draw away and beat them at home. Because I think up until that point, I think of all the times we've beaten Real Madrid, every time we played them, we'd lost to them apparently, until that game at the Bernabeu.
Yeah.
Back in 2017 now.
It was. I remember that game really well. Anyway, so that's that wrapped up. So looking forward to Monday. I hope everybody else is as well. Thank you all for watching. Where can they find you, Shubes? If you're still out and about and not having to go at the phone.
So I am on Instagram, but I'm not people, but I'm private. So if you find me, but good luck. I am on Twitter. I'm at the Real Shubes, and if you do add me, I won't know you've added me until at least a week later, because I don't track that kind of shit. I'm really sorry. And follow up. But I do post on the supplement. But I'm at the Real Shubes on Twitter, and good luck finding me on Instagram. See ya.
And I'm on I don't do X anymore, although our group channel is on our group is on X
Michael's on that. Michael, who does a lot of our Facebook posts, he's on there. So follow him. I forgot what his handle is, but Michael Hamilton, he's on there quite a lot.
Yeah. And but I am on the Facebook, and I'm on the supplements Facebook, of course, and also on Threads. If people still use Threads, it's kind of cool. I'm on there. So
I do use
there's
Threads.
a group. I'm on
I do use
Crisandro
Threads.
Brewer 2 on Threads, and the Tot Sup is also on Threads. So yeah, hit me up there. And Real Madrid have just gone 2-0 up. So don't say that this isn't live, and don't say we're not giving you the real stories here. Yeah, we shall close it. So we shall see you all later. See you all on Monday, and join us on that. Looking forward to catching up, and looking forward to Spurs win that day. So from me and from Shubes, thank you for watching. Come on, you Spurs, and you all take care.
Come on, you Spurs, indeed.